What's up, Dolphin fans? Travis Wingfield with you guys here, the host of the Drive Time podcast on the official Miami Dolphins podcast network. I am thrilled to be joined by the co-host of the Audible podcast alongside Kim Bocamper. He is John Congemi here on the official Miami Dolphins podcast network, and we're talking all things 2020 NFL draft. And today we go inside to the big uglies, the interior offensive linemen. And this class, John, has a couple of guys that really check those boxes in terms of leadership, toughness, and nastiness inside.
Well, Lloyd Cushenberry for LSU, he's one of those guys. You talk about having success in college football at the highest level. He's in the middle of an SEC battle each and every week, and the guy has pretty good size. What I like about him is his flexibility. It looks like he's got a head on a swivel when he plays the position of center. I'm not so sure if he has position flexibility. He probably could play guard. But at center, he looked like he took complete control of that offensive line. And he's very, very good at getting to the next level. And in his quick pass sets, I really like his hand placement. His feet were very quick. He looked athletic. So he's one of those guys that might be able to come into the National Football League and be able to start right away, at least contribute and be that extra guy that gives you maybe some position flexibility moving to guard and center. But I like him at center. He's tough. He's athletic. He has quick hands and feet. And he mirrors defenders really well. That's the one thing I wrote down on my notes when I watched him play. He's a guy that really doesn't get caught out of position. That's what you like in the middle of your offensive line.
And we had a chance at the Senior Bowl. We always talk about offensive line. It's five guys playing as one singular unit. Even Coach Flores has mentioned that several times in some of his press availabilities. And you watch the way Lloyd Cushenberry works alongside his teammate there at LSU, Damian Lewis, the right guard, and they were both at the Senior Bowl in Mobile, and they were so technically proficient, shoulder to shoulder, hip to hip on double teams, passing off games and picking up stunts and twists. They were just so impressive working together, and I think a lot of that comes from Cushenberry's leadership and his communication abilities, and he actually was awarded the number 18 jersey there at LSU. Now, he couldn't wear it on game days because they have restrictions in terms of which numbers offensive linemen can wear, but he was awarded that number 18 jersey along with Caleb Chason for their leadership both on the field and off the field and their production in both those areas too. So I think Cushenberry is a great option to anchor the middle of your offensive line. And so is another guy from the University of Michigan, Cesar Ruiz, who is one of the younger players in this draft. He was the top-rated center coming out of high school, moved to right guard for a few games, kicks back over to center. What do you see when you watch Cesar Ruiz of Michigan, John?
Number one, again, position flexibility. He has the opportunity because the way he's built, 6'3", 305 pounds. He's kind of that round guy that can move and move people against their will, but also probably could play guard because of that mauling type of toughness that he plays the position with. You know, running the football as much as Michigan did, I like the way he got off the football and moved people and got to the second level. It just wasn't a thud and he stopped his feet. He was able to continue on to the second level. So I see an athlete that likes to win early, good hands, good feet. Something you like, smarts. You know, you have to be able to at center, you have to be one of the smartest guys on the football team. And I think both of these guys kind of check all the boxes.
You mentioned his ability to win early and kind of that tough, nasty mentality. It's so much fun to watch, John, because he can initially get that first hand placement and he wins so quickly. It allows him to kind of reposition and create leverage that way. And then once he has to kind of get off that block or maybe climb to the second level, he has this mentality about his game where I'm going to win this rep no matter what happens. I am not going to lose to the guy across from me. So I think that goes a long way. He loves the responsibility of playing the position. He talked about this on, I think it was the Draft Dudes podcast with Jordan Reed, saying that, you know, this is a position where you have more responsibility than the guys next to you. And he really welcomes that. At age 20 years old, he turns 21 in June. So this interior offensive line class, more potential starters. Is there anybody else in the class that has your eye, John?
Matt Hennessy from Temple. He's a guy that had some injuries in his last year at Temple. I had an opportunity to cover him. With him in the lineup, it looked like Temple was able to move the football a lot easier on the ground, and their middle of that offensive line was better, especially when they went up against teams like Central Florida and teams that had flexibility and did a lot of rotation and kept fresh guys going up against that offensive line. He was able to be sturdy, scrappy, tough in the middle, Temple tough in the middle of that offensive line. So that's a guy I'd kind of throw in there. I don't know if he's going to go early. He might be more of a third round type of pick, but you might be able to get an 8-year pro, a 10-year pro out of that guy.
And that draft will happen on Thursday, April 23rd, 8 o'clock Eastern. And we're going to have you guys covered here on the Miami Dolphins Podcast Network, the MiamiDolphins.com website, social media. We're going to have this thing covered comprehensively, all 14 draft picks here. Travis Wingfield, the Drive Time Podcast, part of the Miami Dolphins official podcast network, and Congemi, the co-host of the Audible Podcast.